everybody, it is Sunday and we are gearing up for a new week of NHL action. That means it is time for NHL Games of the Week, where we look ahead to the upcoming schedule and I pick out what I think are going to be the best and most entertaining games and matchups this week in the NHL. Before we get into it, I just ask you to please subscribe and hit that thumbs up button. It helps out so much and is greatly appreciated. I also want to remind everybody about the sale going on in the merch store right now. 20% off of your entire order, anything that you get with the promo code HOLIDAY. That only runs through tomorrow, though, Monday, so it's ending quick. So just go down to that description, click the merch store link, place an order, use HOLIDAY at checkout as a promo code, and you will get 20% off your order. With that out of the way, let's get into it here. Best games from this upcoming week in the NHL, and I have to say, it is a pretty light week as far as games of the week go. There's a lot of cross-conference matchups this week, and just not a lot of premier divisional play or anything like that. So, a little bit shorter list. We'll start with today, Sunday the 28th. We have a huge divisional game to start the week. This is an afternoon matchup between the Washington Capitals and Carolina Hurricanes. It's going to be an incredible game between the top two teams in the Metropolitan Division. Honestly, might be the best game of the week right here this afternoon. Also, later tonight, the Philadelphia Flyers take on the New Jersey Devils, and that should be a really interesting one. Devils have been solid this year, definitely improved over where they were last season. Philadelphia, I don't know, not as much. They've really gone through a rough patch here. Recently, they've dropped in the standings, and they could really use a win badly. So there's two Metro Division matchups that are going to be phenomenal ones today. Coming tomorrow, Monday the 29th, I don't have anything. There's only a few games in the NHL tomorrow, and none of them I think are really premier matchups. So we move on to Tuesday the 30th. We've got the Washington Capitals again, this time playing the Florida Panthers. What a start to the week for Washington. They play at Carolina, then they play at Florida. Florida, one of the best teams in the Atlantic, one of the best teams in the league. That's another premier Eastern Conference matchup. Then we have the Anaheim Ducks against the LA Kings. Big California rivalry here. Anaheim has been way better than I expected this year. LA has kind of had an up and down season. They're trying to get back on an upswing. It's been a really interesting year for the Kings as they kind of go up, have a good stretch, then go down, have a bad stretch, then go up, have a good stretch. And they're just trying to figure out where they're at right now. But, man, huge rivalry here. California teams. And should be a really fun game between those two. Also, we have a really good cross-conference matchup between the Tampa Bay Lightning and the St. Louis Blues. No, you guys know me. I'm not usually huge on cross-conference play as far as, best games. I think generally I'm more of a fan of rivalries and divisional play and stuff like that. But Tampa Bay versus St. Louis should be a great matchup and a lot of fun to watch. Two teams that are off to very solid starts this year and just trying to keep it rolling. Moving on now to Wednesday, the 1st. We are already to December. Can you believe that? We are going to get to December this week. December 1st, we've got the Philadelphia Flyers against the New York Rangers. Another huge Metro Divisional matchup here. Rangers are playing really, really well, winning a ton of games. Really hot right now. While the Flyers, like I said earlier, they've been struggling. They are looking for any win they can get, trying to turn things around and get back on a winning streak. This is a huge game for Philadelphia in New York. Should be a great one between those division rivals. We also have the Vegas Golden Knights against the Anaheim Ducks. Anaheim has back-to-back games here against divisional opponents and two really good matchups as Vegas comes in. And Anaheim, I've talked about how good they've been this year, how much better than expected they've been. Vegas is a team that, is trying to get their season on the right track. They had a lot of injuries early. They've really, they stumbled out of the gate, but then they started to get better. Vegas is going to be a team looking to climb the standings. Anaheim is actually ahead of Vegas in the standings. And they're going to be looking for a big 2 points there. So this is a huge Pacific Division game. Also on the 1st, a really good cross-conference matchup between the Colorado Avalanche and the Toronto Maple Leafs. Colorado, after a really slow start, has completely gotten their game together, playing a whole lot better now and climbing the standings in the Central back towards where we expected them to be. Toronto has been absolutely on fire to start this year. After a couple weeks at the very beginning of struggling a little bit, they have just been on a heater since then. One of the best teams in the league right now. This is a huge matchup on Wednesday night. Should be a lot of fun between two teams playing very, very well. Moving on now to Thursday, December 2nd, we've got the Calgary Flames against the Los Angeles Kings. Another big Pacific matchup here. Calgary has been one of the best teams in the NHL to start this season. They're certainly one of the best teams in the West. And then LA, they're a team that's still trying to figure out what they are. You know, like I said, they've been a roller coaster this year. They've had some really good stretches, and then they've had some really not so good stretches. It's a big, big divisional game there, as the Kings will look to pick up a huge win at home, and the Flames will try and continue their road dominance this season. Calgary's been one of the best road teams in the NHL this season. The Blues and Lightning also play again on Thursday. So they're in St. Louis on Tuesday. They're in Tampa Bay on Thursday. Again, a really fun matchup there between two teams that are having very solid starts to the year. And that's for cross-conference play. That's going to be a really, really fun game. And I can't wait to see how those two games go as they play twice this week. Moving on now to Friday the 3rd. Calgary, still on the road, plays Anaheim in Anaheim on Friday. And again, man, what a week for Calgary. What a week for Anaheim. What a week for LA. Some of these teams, it's just huge weeks for them, as Calgary will have to play back-to-back. They go to the Ducks, who are playing so well this year, as we've talked about. And the Calgary's been playing so well this year. That's just a premier Pacific Division matchup on Friday between the Flames and the Ducks, and that should be a great one. Now, Calgary at a little bit of a disadvantage because they're playing the second of a back-to-back set there on the road, but Anaheim has to play back-to-back earlier in the week, so they'll probably be pretty tired as well. That'll be a great game at the end of the week. Two teams that have played a lot and have played big games this week, duking it out, trying to get a big 2 points. Also, we have the Edmonton Oilers against the Seattle Kraken. Another Pacific Division game. Man, this is a big week for the Pacific Division, especially playoff teams like Calgary and Anaheim and Edmonton and Vegas, and who's trying to be a playoff team, LA, who's trying to be a playoff team. This is a huge week for the Pacific. Seattle's really struggling. I mean, they're 3-7 in their last 10 games. They did just pick up a big win over Florida on the road, which is a unexpected win, to say the least, for the Kraken, but they're still struggling this year. They are starting to play a little bit better, though. And then you've got Edmonton, who's right up there near the top of the Pacific. I think they might actually be at the top of the Pacific as of right now, although Calgary is well within striking distance. Edmonton has had a great year, and they score a boatload of goals. That should be a really fun game, and I would expect that to have some offense in it, to say the least, as the Oilers and Kraken play. And then finally, that brings us to Saturday, December 4th. We've got a massive matchup for the first time this season, the Tampa Bay Lightning against the Boston Bruins. Now, Tampa Bay has owned this matchup in recent years, and Boston is also really struggling against good teams this year. You know, Boston's had a year where they win the games against lesser opponents that they're supposed to win, but they aren't doing well against good teams and against, you know, teams that are equal to them or better than them. And it's more of an evenly matched game. Boston has struggled in those games. So this is going to be a tough one for the Bruins on Saturday night. Tampa coming in. Tampa's played really well this season, and Tampa usually plays the Bruins very, very well. But that will be a great game. Those two teams do not like each other. You know, that's a rivalry that's built up over the last 3 or 4 years into a very, very good one. And it's their first time playing this year, so it should be interesting to see how that goes. and I'm excited for that game. Also, we've got a big Metro divisional game between the Columbus Blue Jackets and Washington Capitals. Washington, as we know, has been one of the best teams in the league this year. They are showing no signs of slowing down, fighting at the top of the division. And Columbus has been so much better than expected. Really having a surprisingly good year, playing very good hockey. And that will be a great game to watch. Two good teams going at it, and should be a lot of fun. But those are the games of the week for this week in the NHL. Not a ton of matchups, but the ones that we do get are very meaningful games and should be very, very good games. So another week of NHL action coming your way as we head into December, and these games should be a whole lot of fun. With that, like, comment, share, subscribe, follow on social media. All those links are down in the description. If you'd like to further support the channel, the links to our memberships, merch store, and donation links are down in the description as well. Keep spreading the word about this channel. Let's keep this thing growing. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll talk to you guys soon.